On today's show, it's our preseason tradition, hot takes ahead of the Senators season.
And the Sens set their NHL roster with a few plot twists regarding the waiver wire.
We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Sens.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Pillar up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. You can also follow the show on social media. We're at Sens Central on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. We're free and available everywhere you get podcasts, including on YouTube. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, and Pilsy, it's about time at least one of our hot takes hits this year.
Yeah, Ross, this would be my favorite episode we do if we would get more than 0 out of 6 correct. Last year we went 0 for 6 with some hilariously off hot takes, but it's not called freezing cold takes. It's not called lukewarm takes. It's hot takes. We're turning the temperature up here and trying to cook up some spicy nuggets. But Ross, this year we checked our lists. Chef Ross was in the kitchen cooking up these hot takes, and I think one of them is gonna hit.
I think 3 is gonna hit.
Okay. All right. That's probably the spiciest of all our hot takes, that 3 out of 6 of them are going to hit.
So we're going to get to last year's hot takes because we're not above laughing at ourselves, and we will do just that in a moment. We'll get into our hot takes, and to wrap up the show, I asked on Twitter at Sens Central, what are your hot takes? And this is the show for fans, by fans, so we want all of these spicy takes to have their shine in the moment, or should I say, to take them out of the oven, see the steam coming right off of them. But we did have some news yesterday. We talked after practice. And look, we were just going off of what was on the ice. And yesterday morning, Zach Ostapchuk was in the fourth line center position. And Adam Gaudette, I don't know if he was in a broom closet at the CTC. He was not on the ice for practice. He ends up clearing waivers. So too does Jan Jenik. We fight to live another day with the Jan Jenik era in Ottawa, or the organization. And now, all of a sudden, the deadline hits for waivers, and then Ostapchuk gets sent down to Belleville, and Adam Gaudette makes this team. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Tidy piece of business by Steve Staios and the general managers and the executive staff. We talked about it. Sometimes the best time to make a waiver risk, or actually I would argue the best time to make a waiver risk, is yesterday, because everyone else is doing it. You send guys down, you hope they sneak through. Gaudette and Jenik sneak through. So Ostapchuk doesn't need waivers. So now you send him down and bring Gaudette back up. And now Gaudette has it's a 30-day window where he can be sent down without being claimed, since he already went through the waiver wire already. So I think that was a smart play by Steve Staios. And I still, Ross, would have preferred Jan Jenik to be the guy, but Adam Gaudette, you can't really get much better of a preseason for a guy fighting for a fourth line center role. So well earned by the hockey god.
He scored in every game. What more do you want from him?
Yeah, what do you want? And he got in a fight. So it's pretty good.
4 goals. That's absolutely sick, although it came in 4 games. So Adam Gaudette makes this team, and I think he also brings a little bit more consistency in the face-off circle. You noticed over the course of preseason, Jenik was down around 30-some%. So maybe that is a part of the final decision that went into Adam Gaudette making this team. Looking forward to tomorrow when the Senators will have their final practice ahead of the home opener against the Florida Panthers. Now, the Cats are in action tonight, and they better get the heck out of Miami right after, because Hurricane Milton is coming, and it seems like it's just an outrageously strong storm. So if we have any listeners, I know Dave Bush is in Lakewood Ranch. We've got fans down in South Florida, those snowbirds. I hope my parents' house is okay as well. They're luckily safe in Ottawa, but we're thinking of all the people in Florida that have just dealt with Hurricane Helene and are now going to have to deal with another one. but it does seem like the Panthers will be able to get up to Ottawa. It seems like landfall on the other side of Florida will be late Wednesday, early Thursday morning. The Panthers play tonight and then expect to make their trip up to Ottawa. So we don't expect there to be any sort of postponement or anything like that. We're obviously nervous because we've got our bags packed too. We'll be making the trip to Ottawa tomorrow as well. Cannot wait to see all the citizens over at the GCP, where we've added how many buses, Pilsy? How many buses?
Not one bus, not two buses, 3 buses. Let's go GCP.
And you can get your tickets still $17 round trip to and from the pub. It leaves at 5:45 and it will take us to the CTC, where we will have an absolute blast. Pilsy and I will be in section 321. Make sure you say hi if you see us. Would love to meet as many Sens fans. With we always like to say, we're with 18,500 of our best friends when we walk in the doors of the CTC, and cannot wait to get our boots on the ground. Okay, Pilsy. It's time to laugh at us. I've got it up from last year. I pulled up the spicy hot takes, and I got to tell you, our first hot take, it started off really well in the home opener when Jacob Chychrun had 2 goals. Last year, Pilsy, you predicted Jacob Chychrun would score 20-plus goals. Now, I will give you this. Jacob Chychrun finished 7th among defensemen in goals last year.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad take at all. And yeah, I just remember us looking at each other when Jacob Chychrun scored that second goal being like, it's finally going to happen. One of our hot takes is going to hit. Didn't end up happening as he slowed down the rest of the season, but I stand by. That was it's like Ross, sometimes you make a bet and it loses and you're like, that was the right process. You can't disrespect the process. So I stand by that one.
What was it that Steve Staios told us? We're patient in our results, or no?
We're patient in our process.
We're urgent in our process.
Urgent
in our process and patient in our results. We got there, Pilsy. We got there.
Okay.
And I almost got there on my hot take last year of saying that Drake Batherson will score at a point per game clip. Now maybe close is a little stretch, but 66 points in 82 games. Part of me wanted to double down on that this year. I do think Drake Batherson is in for a sick season, and I hope that comes true just a year late. Maybe I'll claim that counts if it's a year late. Now, you told me that Eunice Korpisalo would get more shutouts last year than the 4. He only had 4 shutouts in 221 games in his NHL career. Do you know how many he finished with?
0.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like that revisionist history, Ross. Sens winning the cup should be my 3-fire emoji take, and Korpisalo getting 4 shutouts in one season when he only had 4 in his whole career should have been the 3, 6, 10 flame emoji take right there.
You were off and running in the preseason. Remember he shut out Crosby and the entire Penguins club in Halifax? You're like, wow.
Yeah, and preseason means everything, as we know.
Well,
Sens,
when you win.
5-1.
Claude Giroux, we said would set again a career high in goals after scoring 35 last season. That also did not happen.
Yeah, that was pretty spicy, Ross. To say that someone's gonna eclipse a career high after just doing it, but
at 36 years old.
But you were that was a Claude Giroux heat check take for you, because you were on the take that he was going to get to 1,000 points that season, and he did it. So
he did. I was just checking. Now he was salt. Like by the end of January, he had 15 goals. So I was like, 35 games left. Like, could we get there? And then it just slowed down. He had 3 goals in his last 25 games last season. So that did not hit. Neither did either of our predictions with the Senators. I had them finishing top 3 in the division. They finished bottom 3 in the division. Okay. And then they absolutely did not win the cup, Pilsy.
Close.
Hey, they're hot takes for a reason. That one was ghost pepper hot. Pilsy, those are in the past. We got to hit the reset button. And we're dialing it up again. Hot takes for this upcoming season are next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Mary J's. Mary J's is a locally owned cannabis dispensary in the Ottawa area. Three best friends wanted to go after their dreams, and with hard work and dedication, they got 4 stores in Ottawa. So you can check them out at Riverside South, Orleans, Greeley, and Russell. Mary J's offers the best and newest products in the market, and they're adding new stuff to the menu every single week to keep it fresh. They offer competitive pricing. In fact, they're going to price match any store in Ottawa. So that means you're guaranteed to get the best price around when you go to Mary J's. And they got great customer service by having some of the friendliest bud tenders around who are always ready to help you out. One of the owners, Dashy, absolute beauty. He's a diehard Sens fan. So go to one of the stores, say, "What up" to Dashy.
What up? What up? See you Thursday, Dashy.
Pick his brain about the Ottawa Senators and all the latest, greatest products that the Mary J's has to offer. And check out their website and get yourself a loyalty card. Check it out today, guys. Mary J's.
Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Over at FanDuel, I've been having a ton of fun with the MLB playoffs. Look, baseball is a long season, but when it comes to playoffs, every pitch matters. You see the other night, Pilsy, the outfielder reach into the stands, take the home run away, and then act like he didn't catch it. He just he drooped his shoulders and started walking away on the road, I may add. And then he just goes, "Oh, it's in my glove." I love playoff baseball. It's great.
That's
you know what else I love? Hot takes on FanDuel, Pilsy. This is a hot take show. So I'm going to tell you my future that I personally am on. I wouldn't give you picks if I'm not on the picks. And my pick here, they've got this over at FanDuel. The winning team for the Stanley Cup will be in Canada. The drought ends this season. Plus 290. Look, we'll get to whom our picks are at the end of the season, but legitimately, I mean, obviously, would we love the Senators to be in the mix? Sure.
Yep.
Edmonton and Vancouver, to me, are both extremely legitimate contenders for a Stanley Cup. So I'm going to take that at plus 290. I think that the Canadians come through, not the Canadiens. The Canadians will come through with one of the 7 teams winning the Stanley Cup this season. So go get in on the action. Go check them out at FanDuel, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That is over at FanDuel.com. All right, Pilsy, I'm feeling extra spicy this morning. We're just 2 days away from the Senators home opener, and I would like to pat myself on the back here.
Okay.
46 days of the countdown. I think I nailed it, man. I think I bit off a bit more than I could chew, but it got the people going, and I have, if you've missed any of them, I've been putting them in one long thread. So if you wake up on game day, you're like, "Oh, I need Sens. I need Sens." Throw on LOSP in the background and just scroll, and 46 nostalgic videos of this Ottawa Senators franchise right there at your fingertips. I've already got the last 2 loaded up. No spoilers, but they both gave me goosebumps. That's all I'm going to say. So, Pilsy, let's keep it rolling over on Twitter at Sens Central. Let's keep it rolling on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. The numbers have been extraordinary. Those who have been riding with us for a long time, usually we're like, really excited about the numbers. This time, just like the Sens, like quiet confidence. We're rolling into the season. Lots of great guests coming up over the course of the next little while. We got an awesome citizen tomorrow as well. Chris Crawford's going to join us before he goes and climbs an enormous mountain and doing it with the Sens in mind. So we'll get into all that. And then, Pilsy, you and me together again Thursday at the Casa Levitan in Alta Vista. Can't wait for all of that. But we're bringing hot takes in our bag. I'm packing up today for the trip, and I made sure that all my hot takes are folded neatly and placed in my carry-on so I can just slide it under the seat in front of me. Pilsy, start us off with a mild take. We'll work our way up to the spiciest ones that we've got. Give me a mildly hot take for the Sens going into this season.
All right, my mildly hot take, because I'm very confident that this is going to happen. We're a hashtag goalie-friendly show. Linus Ullmark, this is the final year on his contract, but I believe, Ross, and you can vouch for this because you know better than anyone, a Christmas in Ottawa will have Linus Ullmark and his family convinced we want to stay here long-term. Linus Ullmark will sign an extension with the Ottawa Senators before New Year's Day. So before 2025, Under every Sens fan's Christmas tree will be wrapped a nice Linus Allmark extension. And the second that happens, Ross, you and I are going to get our Linus Allmark jerseys.
100%. Take it a step further, Pilsy. How many years?
Oh, I was hoping you didn't ask me this because I've been trying to think what would make sense. I'm going to go a 5-year deal.
Okay, 5. I'm not going to ask you for how much. You know what,
Okay,
Linus? Go earn every penny of it with your play through November, which is where my mildly hot take comes in. Pilsy, I think that the Ottawa Senators will go above 500 in November. Now, if you're a fan of another team, you're listening to this, you're like, what? 500? That's your goal? Well,
in
the
November?
Ottawa Senators.
No other team cares about November.
The Ottawa Senators Novembers of days past, honestly, I didn't even look them up because I was so PTSD. I didn't even want to see them. I know that last year they had 2 regulation wins in November. That's a long, long month. Like, the time changes, you lose daylight, it gets dark, it gets cold, and the Ottawa Senators tumble down the standings every one of the past 4 years. So let's take a look at this, Pilsy. Am I wild? Let's go through the games. We've got the schedule up if you're watching on YouTube. I'm going to give you 8 wins here. All right, let's start with November 1st.
New York Rangers in New York.
Well, what comes to mind is Tkachuk, Trouba, center ice, Tkachuk goal in overtime. I think that's a win.
Oh, okay. Starting off strong. Love it. Back to back. You're back to Ottawa, but you're up against the Seattle Kraken.
That's a win.
So we're 2-0 to start. Okay. Then we head to Buffalo against the Sabres.
I think that's a loss. I think
what?
That's good. Yeah, I think that's a loss. I think that's a loss, Pilsy.
Oh, boy. Okay. 2-1. New York Islanders in Ottawa.
No, that's a loss too.
2-2. Boston Bruins.
In Boston on a Saturday night. That's a statement game, revenge game for Linus Allmark. That's a win.
Okay, wow. In Toronto against the Leafs.
Another win.
Okay, 4-2. In Ottawa against the Flyers.
That's a win.
5-2. In Carolina against the Hurricanes.
When's the last time they won in Carolina? Like 1992?
Okay, if you would have said that was a win, I would have thrown the whole thing out.
That's like a 7-1 loss.
Yes, it is. In Ottawa against the Oilers.
No, that's a loss too.
In Ottawa against the Golden Knights.
That's a loss.
That's such a loss. In Ottawa against Vancouver.
That's a loss. That's a 3-game home losing streak right there, buddy.
So what? We're at 5-5 now, I think.
Yep, they're going to win the last 3 games of the month.
In Ottawa against Calgary.
Win.
That's a win. In San Jose.
Make up for last year's loss. That's a win.
Tim Stützle hat trick on the power play. And in LA.
Win.
All right, we
There you
did
go.
it.
We're 8-6. We're 8-6 in November. That's a busy month, by the way. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, just set your calendar every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Senators hockey.
Yeah, can't wait for that. So 8-6, I'm calling in November, and I think I was fairly realistic there. A couple losses that maybe you thought would have been wins, and a couple the other way around. So I'm calling 8-6 for the Ottawa Senators in the month of November. All right, Pilsy, give me a little bit spicier of a take.
All right, so this is a team-based take. Last year, the Ottawa Senators were terrible when it comes to their
that was the end of the sentence.
Yeah, well, fair. They were terrible when it came to special teams, Ross. I'm looking it up right now as we speak. The power play was 23rd overall, 18%. And the penalty kill, oh boy, give me 10 seconds here while I scroll down the standings. 29th in the league at 75.1, but that's all about to change, Ross. The Ottawa Senators will finish top 15 in the league in power play and penalty killing. So we're moving up 14 spots in PK and math guy, 8 spots in power play.
Now, I believe this to be realistic. Now, 2 seasons ago, Ottawa was top 10 in power play even. And look at all the changes they've made on the penalty killing side. No more Joseph, no more Kelly, no more Kastelik.
All that matters is Allmark is there.
Exactly. They definitely had the worst save percentage shorthanded last year in the league. But let me ask you this, Pilsy. If they're going to finish top 10 in one of power play or penalty kill, what's more likely?
Power play. Easy
Okay.
answer. Like, the only reason, Ross, for me that this is a hot take is to throw the penalty killing in there as well. Like, I don't think it's that crazy that they can finish top 15 in power play.
Well, I saw the photo of their top power play unit gathered around Alfie at practice yesterday. And I mean, you look at the names. It's Brady Tkachuk, Drake Batherson, Tim Stützle, Josh Norris. And my hot take is Jake Sanderson, who's quarterbacking the top unit. Now, people might say, why 56 points for Jake Sanderson, who, by the way, had 38 points this past season? So I'm looking at a 18 point improvement for Jake Sanderson. Now, why 56? Well, glad you asked, because the highest point total from an Ottawa Senators defenseman since Erik Karlsson was traded is Thomas Chabot with 55 points. So I'm saying that this year, Jake Sanderson will not only improve by 18 points, but he's also going to have the most points by a Senators defenseman since Erik Karlsson left. If you're watching on YouTube, I pulled up the full list year by year. Funny enough, Jacob Chychrun last year was the second highest, tied with Thomas Chabot from the year before. Jake Sanderson's 38 points is fifth on this list. So I think Jake Sanderson is going to take a huge step forward, and Jake Sanderson will be the top scoring single season defenseman since Erik Karlsson moved on. So those are two hot takes, Pillsy, and I think we are still working our way up to the spiciest. What is your spiciest take going in to this season?
Well, Ross, it relates to our last takes, the power play. Last year, notably, one player on the Ottawa Senators only had one power play goal. Tim Stützle only had one power play goal. Honestly, of all the weird stats we pulled out, Ross, I still am of the mind that Tim Stützle only getting one power play goal against the San Jose Sharks in a loss might be the wildest one of the year.
On like a Thursday night at 11:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Sick postcast.
But my spicy take, make sure you got a glass of milk ready. Make sure you sign the waiver saying you're not going to sue us when you eat these hot wings. Tim Stützle will lead the Ottawa Senators in power play goals.
Okay. I don't mind that one bit. Now, power play goals, Tim Stützle's career high is 10 in a season.
Correct.
And that season, Drake Batherson had 14 to lead the team. Last year, Brady Tkachuk led the team with 12 power play goals. How many power play goals do you think Tim Stützle will have this season?
So, ironically, I think the battle for power play goals is between Tim Stützle and Josh Norris. But Norris's health, obviously, is the big thing here, because when Norris had his amazing season, I believe, and you can fact check me on this, Ross, he had 16 power play goals, which is tied for like third in the league or something. It was crazy.
Oh, I can click one away. I can tell you that in that season, 2022-23, Josh Norris, no, he wasn't that high, honestly. Am I missing him? No, he wasn't even. Oh, no, that's Drake. Was it a year before that? Was it 21-22?
Whatever year he had.
He had 16. He was tied for. Oh wow, a lot of people. He's tied for third, but it's
that's what I said. Boom.
But it's a huge tie because he's listed at 9.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was Ovechkin, Stamkos, Duchesne, Reinhart, Rantanen, Matthews, and Norris.
Yeah, there we go. So it's between Norris and Timmy for me. I'm going to say Timmy leads the Sens with 15 power play goals.
Okay, now 15 power play goals would have been 9th in the league last year. For what it's worth, Sam Reinhart had 27 power play goals last year.
I mean, that's not going to happen.
Bit of a different universe there. Now, last year I said they'd finish top 3 in the division. I'm not going to go with that, but this implies they're going to make the playoffs. My spiciest take is that we get a Battle of Ontario in the first round of the playoffs.
But Ross, what will the result of that battle be?
I hope it doesn't go to 7 games because I don't know if I can handle that 7th game.
But 7 games isn't great for the Toronto Maple Leafs either.
True. Well, their last Game 7 win was... No, I think they won against Tampa in 7 games when they beat them, but I am... let's just get there first, okay?
I like it. That would be...
great for content.
Oh, my God. I'm putting a mental pretzel just thinking about it because it's what I want. And I do think the Sens match up great against the Leafs in the playoffs. But if it happens to go badly for the Sens, oh my God. Like, I would rather, honestly, Ross, I would rather get swept by any other team than lose in Game 7 to the Leafs.
And any other team? I mean, some people in Montreal, their fans, think that they might make the playoffs this year.
Ross, come on.
Nobody, hey, all bark, no bets. I offered anyone who wanted at even money that the Habs finish with more points than the Sens. A lot of people called me a moron. A lot of people called me obsessed, but nobody opened their checkbook. Nobody.
Ross, I'm gearing up to have a big boy bet for this Saturday's game, and I'm trying to decide whether to float it out there to one of the big Hab accounts to see if anyone will take me up, or if not, I'm going to go to FanDuel with maybe one of the biggest bets of my life on this
Once
Saturday.
You find out that Linus Ullmark is in goal.
Yes, Linus Ullmark starting that game is everything, yes.
Okay, how would you power rank the likelihood of all 6 of these, Pilsy?
Oh, 0% chance all 6 of them happen. 0.
No. I mean, like, which one do you think is the spiciest of all these? Do you think your spiciest one is more than mine? Because I guess for me, 2 teams have to do things.
And they have to match up perfectly.
Right.
So I'll say yours is the spiciest take just because the stars have to align for that to happen.
Yeah, the Leafs have to blow the right way, you mean?
Yes.
All right, those are our hot takes. Chirp them in the comments. Tell us which one you think is most likely and least likely going into the season. On the other side, let's get your hot takes. We asked on Twitter at Sens Central. Let's check. We're at 65 responses. Is that a little foreshadowing to my Jake Sanderson hot take? Maybe it is. We'll discuss next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, guys, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for things like scheduling, screening, and messaging. That's going to help you connect with candidates so much faster. And Indeed, they don't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. So what are you waiting for? Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show, we're going to hook you up. You get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed from the Locked On Senators podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
All right, Pilsy, you want to remind everyone that you can strike while the iron is hot and sponsor Locked On Senators. If you have a business that you want to get the word out to passionate people in the city of Ottawa, you can let us know. We've got our contact information in our YouTube. You can also reach out on Twitter at Sens Central. All right, the great citizens. We've already had every citizen this summer we've asked for a hot take from. So let's start with a reminder of those ones. We pulled it up actually just recently with Claire. And did Claire give us one? I didn't put it in. No, she gave us an X Factor. That's what we pulled up with Claire. We pulled that up with Claire. Okay, here we go. Max Gannett plays 40 NHL games. That was from our guy, Andrew. Give me a scale 1 to 5 of how likely you think that they are to happening. Max Gannett, 40 NHL games this year.
5 being very likely, 1 being not likely.
Yes.
2. I don't think that's very likely.
I think 1.5, just from the standpoint, they already have JBD and Hamonic. Like, they're already a bit heavy on the right side, but you hear Staios talk about him. He's definitely in the mix. I think he plays games 40. That is spicy. We asked for hot takes, not mild ones. Our guy Fellerpine hit us with 2. Matt Sogard or Levi Marilainen steals the backup job this year.
The only way I can see that happening, Ross, is if Forsberg really struggles off the gate and and they either trade him or just kind of disregard him, which I don't think is going to happen. So that's quite spicy. I'll go with the 2 on that one as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to go again 1.5. I think it's more likely that the Senators make a Mike Condon style trade or an Anders Nielsen style trade and bring in a more experienced, cheap option if things don't go well or an injury occurs to Anton Forsberg. I think they really want Sogard and Marilainen to be in Belleville for the whole year. And what makes me think that even more is how they released Tokarski from his tryout. I don't know if he was willing to do a two-way and play in Belleville, but that makes me think that they really want those two to handle the crease down there. Yeah. Feller also said Norris and Pinto each hit 30 goals. I would tell you it's a 5 out of 5 if you said one of, but both?
Yeah, that's still pretty spicy, but I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Like Norris, we've already seen can hit 30, and if Pinto has a 3rd straight year where he's healthy for every game that he's eligible, could happen.
Ridley Gregg, 20-plus goals. That's from our guy, Rob.
I would say this is actually pretty likely, Ross. I'll put this at a 4 out of 5, especially with the way the lineup is. Him being on the second line, that's huge.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. I'll go 5 out of 5 on that one.
So that's a guarantee. If you go 5 out of 5, that's a Ross Levitan guarantee, a Levy lock.
Well, we just said the organizational value rankings. I said 20 plus 20 is the play for Ridley Gregg, so I'll stick to that as well. Okay. Taylor. This is what we're all hoping.
Yeah.
Josh Norris will play in all 82 games.
I'm going to go a 1 on this one. Not because I think he's going to have a shoulder injury, but just all 82 is very difficult. Like
even Brady missed 1 game last year.
Yeah, like Timmy missed a couple games. Like it's hard to play all 82 games, especially with when you already have injury concerns. So I don't think that's very likely.
I don't know if this was from Taylor as well, because I just have 52 plus as doubling his point total. Similar with Ridley Gregg, 20 plus goals, but doubling his point totals, that might be a bit much. At 26, so 52 or more might be a bit high. I'd say that's a 3.
Yeah, I'm at a 2.5 on that one.
All right. Clark says the Senators will finish 3rd in the Atlantic and play the Leafs in the first round. So me and Clark are on the same wavelength right here.
I'm going a 1 on this one as well. I don't like. For me, the Sens, I don't see any path where they're 3rd in the Atlantic.
No, so I guess I didn't say that. In my world, the Leafs could win the division and play in the 1-8 matchup as well. Now, or 2-7 if the Metro team finishes with more points. And Clark, sorry, buddy, this one's already did not finish. Yak finishes with more points per game than Shabbat. If you count as WHL, I think that's pretty likely.
Well, unless Shabbat goes pointless.
No, but I'm saying if you compare Yakimchuk's WHL stats this year to Shabbat's NHL stats, you might be onto something.
Yes, yeah. But the only way this happens in the NHL if Shabbat has 0 points, so I don't know.
No doubt. All right, let's see on Twitter at Sens Central.
I haven't seen any of these yet, so I'm excited to look at these.
Sens finished 3rd in the division.
Nope.
Zub, 10 goals. I like that.
What did he have last year? 6? 4?
5. 6? I'll look it up. Brady 50 goals or Timmy 100 points. What's more likely of those two?
Timmy 100 points.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sens Hardy says Drake Batherson will lead the team in goals with 40 or more.
I thought about mixing in a Drake Batherson one. 40 goals. You know what? I like it. I like it, Hardy.
Zub had 5 goals last year in 69 games.
So doubling, probably not going to happen.
But only 69 games.
Yep.
Our guy, Kevin Hemina, Pinto scores 25 goals. I like that number for him. I thought 30 was a bit high. I think 25 is fair.
Yep, agreed.
Timmy has 110 points.
No, that's too spicy, Kevin. Get the chocolate milk out for that one to wash it down. That's too spicy.
Our guy Disco Stu at Ted_McGregor. Sandy gets votes in 2 award categories. I'd imagine he means the Norris and the Lady Bing.
Yeah, Lady Bing, I can see. Norris, he's not there yet, guys.
Ulmark, top 5 in Vezina.
I'm down for that. I'm in for that because everyone is like, Ottawa's defense is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. So if he has an amazing year, you got to consider him. I like it.
Disco Stew's got a lot, so I'll wrap with this one for him. Michael Amadio becomes a fan favorite by the end of the year.
Yeah, probably. And two of his are intertwined. Allmark top 5 in Vezina and Green finals for Adams. Those are intertwined, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like. Will we see Michael Amadio jerseys in the concourse of the CTC by the end of the year?
Maybe.
Time will tell. Nathan says, my hottest take is that we are Detroit from last year and just barely missed the playoffs in heartbreaking fashion.
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
Zoob Hat says the Sens will win the Atlantic Division. I mean, we asked for hot takes.
That's a 0 out of 5, unfortunately.
President of the Gabby Hughes fan club. Let's go with this one. Travis Hamonic gets 20 points.
I don't
that's
think
realistic.
That's that. Yeah, I don't.
2 years ago, he had what, 21?
Yeah, especially Steve Stais said today that he's fired up about Hamonic. Especially he had off-season surgery, I guess, and he could get in a lot of games here. But I hope that that's not true. I hope that doesn't happen.
Hamonic had 6 points last year, but 21 the year before. So spicy. Mark with a little Debbie Downer tweet. Outside of Allmark, Stais additions will make this team worse, not better. Allmark will carry a defensively weak team into the playoffs by himself and then sign an 8-year deal in Utah. Unlike that one.
Get out of here.
Boo. Our guy Chicken Run, fast AF _10. Allmark goalie goal.
Ooh, yes.
Clevin sent down by game 15.
I don't like seeing that, but he hasn't looked great so far, unfortunately.
But he's gotten better as camp went on. Stais noted that on TSN 1200
and
today.
No waiver claim. We thought they were going to claim a left shot defenseman for sure.
It's basically like, do you think one of Jeremy Davies, Philip Roos, or Donovan Sabrango are going to be called up within 15 games?
Well, no. Or does a trade happen?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Sens finally lose a game to Montreal. I'll tell you, better not be next Saturday.
Yeah, seriously. 0 out of 5 chance that happens. I can't, honestly, Ross, I can't even remember the last time the Sens lost to Montreal.
Eliminator says the Sens get at least 2 win streaks where they win 8 or more games in a row. Dude, these postcast vibes would be electric. I hope it happens.
I don't think the Sens are going to get 1 8-game win streak, but I love the optimism.
I love the optimism too. I don't like this. And from the photo being a Stanley Cup ring of the Florida Panthers, he thinks Florida will play spoiler on opening night. Look, I'm not going to panic if they lose on opening night because they've won the last 3 and it hasn't worked out that great. And if you're going to lose to someone on opening night, I guess the champs who have already played a game, it's Ottawa's first, it's Florida's second. I mean, I don't think that's that spicy of a take. Ottawa's definitely going to be the underdog in that game.
Yep.
Okay, Max Sens is going to do one bad, one good. Bad is one of the $8 million core guys is traded if the Sens start slow. Those are tough deals to pull off midseason.
Definitely. Yeah, that's very difficult to do.
And Max is looking at the Sens passing Tampa for a wild card spot as the good hot take. I think Tampa. I looked at Tampa's forward group and like, I'm now looking at them instead of Boston as the team to pass.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I think it all comes down to what Vasilevsky are we going to get this year?
Yes, but also like Swayman and Boston. Like these are two. The Atlantic Division has what, 4 of the best 7 goalies in the league? Excuse me. Like Shesterkin, Saros, and Hellebuck. Outside of that, you're looking at Vasilevsky, Swayman, Allmark, Bobrovsky in no order.
Ottinger probably gets in that mix too.
Yeah, true. Ottinger's right there, but I mean, that's a pretty short list outside of the. So you're 4 in the Atlantic and 4 outside of the Atlantic, and there's 3 other divisions.
Yeah.
So Tim Whalen, Tyler Boucher will play 5 NHL games this season. I think that's real. He looked great in that last preseason game.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. If someone's getting called up, I don't think it's going to be Tyler Boucher. That Belleville roster is stacked with guys hungry and deserving of a chance. And I want Boucher settled in Belleville playing as many games as possible.
Jacob Atkins has Travis Green winning the Jack Adams over at FanDuel. It's the second furthest out. I honestly think that Sheldon Keefe's a slam dunk for the Jack Adams. I think New Jersey is so good.
Who's a better goalie, Markstrom or Allmark? That will decide this question. Honestly.
Well, I have the Devils winning the Metro Division. If they win the Metro Division, then if they go from outside of the playoffs to winning the Metro, he's the guy. But he's right. He's going to be the mix if Ottawa does well.
Yep.
Ollie time, our guy, Jimmy, says Tim Stützle will be top 10 in the league in points.
I don't think that's going to happen, but Timmy's going to... It's a revenge season for Timmy. He's got to show everyone that his 90-point year was not a fluke.
Oh, he needs to do that. Wiggles, Nick Jensen's going to start doing hip checks now for our countdown video. We had Mark Mathod's hip check reel yesterday, so I think that might be inspired by that. Carter Cannon, Josh Norris hits the 30-goal mark again. If
he plays 60-plus games, yes. Under 60, no.
He hit 35 goals with only 66 games played a few seasons ago. The Pizzler says Hamonic is reborn. We already had one on that. Tim Stützle's first 100-point season. We've already had that. Sanderson, 60 points. Me and Pat are on the same page there. Pat F11. And our guy Sean says the Sens start the season 9-0-1. My goodness, the postcast would be must listen every night if that's the case.
I mean, the postcast is must listen every night regardless, but the vibes would be high. Yep.
Sens score 282 goals, which is just enough to sneak into the playoffs. I almost want to see
I have no clue what team total goals are like.
I will tell you this. Last season, 282 goals would have ranked 6th in the National Hockey League. For comparison, last year, Tampa had 288.
Huh.
Twist, how the heck did you come up with that number?
Yeah, seriously.
Forzy's glove. Sens finished second in the Atlantic. Okay, we got a lot of point totals here. I think we've already hit on a lot of these. 20 goals for Sanderson would be outrageous, but
yeah,
I like the optimism. Nathan thinks the Sens are going to have a bottom 10 defense in the league. Thinks injuries are going to play a role there with Chabot and Zub.
Yeah, the defense worries me. I want to be more confident about Nick Jensen, but I am low on Nick Jensen.
Well, let's see. Julian Bernier, Sens contend for one of the wild card spots, and he thinks they're just going to come short, leading to one of Giroux or Allmark not to stay.
Yeah, if the Sens don't have a good year, I don't want to say it, but I am a little nervous about Claude.
Yeah, I mean, just had his third kid. Ottawa's a great place to raise a family. Please stay, Claude. Please.
Yeah, it is.
Korbachev says Norris will not require shoulder surgery. I love that.
Same. Yep.
Good vibes. Pinto gets 75 points.
No.
I think anything over 60 is great for Pinner.
Even anything over 50, I think, is a good benchmark.
Yeah. Okay. Norris, 28 goals exactly. We'll see. A goalie save percentage above 900? Ah! Oh my goodness. Parmesan. I like that. Parmesan. Adam, this is an opinion, but we'll read it. Forsberg with the U in there needs to go. Unfortunately, defense needs to be tougher in front of the net, even after the whistle. I think Zub especially. I think Zub's one of their more meat and potatoes grinder in the league. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what's next. Let's see. Kieran thinks the Stanley Cup comes home. That's cool. I'm happy with that.
Bring it home.
Rusty Nails thinks they're going to finish ahead of the Bruins.
I wish. I don't think so, though.
Oscar Mayer thinks that we're back on track and we're going to get prospects in the pipeline and that playoffs will happen.
Cool.
All right. Heck yeah, Matt. Sens make the playoffs and beat the Leafs in round one. He's taking it a step further than me. Hazy Sens. Sanderson goes off 50, 60 points. Brady hits 40 goals. Chabot. Here's one we haven't talked about. Chabot, 50 to 60 points. What do you think?
Sanderson and Chabot both can't reach 50, 60 points.
Yeah. Diana says it's not a hot take. It's a fact. Josh Norris will have a solid comeback season, remain over 50% in the dot as he's been in his whole career, and hopefully shut some people up.
Love it.
Norris plays 70 games this year. Our guy CCLD just loves. Let's just listen to it. Let's listen to it.
I'll say it again. Absolutely. The Ottawa Senators can be your 2025 Stanley Cup champions.
I love how he dubbed over at 25. That's great. Pinto,
so good.
40 goals. Chabot cheats on Norris with Stützle with a couple funny photos there. Zoob 35 points from our guy ETH's baldness.
I don't think Zoob's hitting that.
Danny Heatley has chimed in. Stanley Cup.
About time. Open invite to come on the show.
Okay, a lot of Sens beat the Leafs in round one. I did not look at this before we did our hot takes, but this is making me almost feel like, hey, strength in numbers.
Love it.
Amy says she's not been a hockey fan this long, doesn't want to watch a lot of games other than Sens, but is it possible or likely that this team has a slow start? Doesn't it take time with new teammates and coaches? Amy, training camp's been 45 years, so I'm not here for excuses.
The preseason was a generation.
Yeah. Jimmy Armstrong, Ullmark carries us to the playoffs, but contract talks go all the way to June.
He'll be signed after Christmas, Jimmy. Come on.
Gabe, I like this. Greg will have more points than Pinto and Norris.
Nope.
I mean, I don't like it if I just said that he's going to hit 40 points.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Hot water in the washrooms at the CTC by Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Boo. We love our freezing cold water. Feels like home.
That was from Martin. Sens will be in the mix for a playoff spot by the end of January. That's from Harvest Coastal.
Yes.
Sens will stay healthy all year. I mean, the NHL, there's injuries everywhere. That's a tough one. I get to watch games without crippling anxiety from Husbag.
Can't guarantee that.
Those ones. 35 wins for Ullmark from Patrick Thierin.
That's a good over-under to set. I like that.
35, he said?
Yeah.
That would be tied for 6th in the National Hockey League last season.
I like it.
Okay. All right, let's keep it rolling. My hot take is that some of your usernames are outrageous. Okay. Our guy Chase, remember we sat with Chase in Minnesota? He came over.
Yes, that was awesome.
He thinks the Sens as a team and Stützle combined to 200 points.
That's a cool way to look at that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's fun.
It's fun. Maxime says that they'll have an above 22% power play. I know you like that one.
Yes, sir.
Brian, again, Sens Leafs in the first round. 1-8, he thinks. Corey says Green, Jack Adams, Ullmark, Vezina. Dominic says Ullmark wins the Vezina. Dylan thinks that Stützle's top 15 in assists, Brady's top 15 in points, both are goals, and both are top 35 in points. Your thoughts?
I mean, 35, that's not that crazy. Yeah, let's do it. Dylan Ferguson, our old friend.
Stützle, 44, says 65 plus points for Shabbat.
No.
And finally, that they will make the playoffs. That is the hottest take, and it's from an account called Hockey IQ, so they can't be wrong, can they?
Depends. Are they high hockey IQ or low hockey IQ?
Is he a high hockey IQ guy? All right, Pilsy, let's wrap up with our final predictions. Your Stanley Cup champion is...
I'm going New Jersey Devils.
I like that pick. My final is New Jersey Devils against the Edmonton Oilers. I think they get it done. I mean, I said in the FanDuel ad, I think Canada wins the cup, and I think that McDavid, you see him in the Amazon video there, like, he's going to have a point to prove this season. So I've got Connor McDavid as the Stanley Cup champion. I'll go a step further. He's winning the Conn Smythe.
But do they have to pay him $1 million to go out and accept it?
Not when he's already celebrating.
Okay, just for completeness sake, I got the Devils beating the Stars in the finals.
Okay, very cool. Great show, great energy. Pilsy, Tomorrow we got our Sens Central Citizen. We will let you know any notes from practice. We'll look at the power play, the penalty kill, what we think will happen in week one. The season is here. Enjoy the game tonight. The banner goes up in South Florida, and that signals the start of a new season in the National Hockey League. There is just 3 games tonight. The Blues will be in Seattle. Panthers host the Bruins. So we're going to get a little pre-scout on Thursday's matchup. And then the Chicago Blackhawks will be in Utah for their inaugural
Lake City
game. So enjoy all the games tonight. Enjoy all the action. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and be a friend and tell a friend about listening, watching, and engaging with the Locked On Senators podcast. And get your tickets still for the GLEBE Central Pub Shuttle. We will see you at the pub. We're going to be there about 2 o'clock. Bus leaves at 5:30. Cannot wait to see you all there. For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.